I was just Googling Gabriel on my phone. Gabriel as a hurricane in the past. I just found out Gabriel was a hurricane in 1989. And it was around September 6. Actually, the news story I read was dated September 6, 1989. And that's the year I've been talking about in relation to Hugo, Hurricane Hugo, and Jake Wetterling. Because that's the year that Jake left us. Exactly a month after Hugo. By the way, same car as when I parked. 61 is the value of Dorian. Dorian is the storm currently churning in the Atlantic. It's approaching Puerto Rico right now. And it could almost be a hurricane when it reaches Puerto Rico. But I also saw Gabriel. It's weird because I've been thinking September 6 and September 19. Gabriel was a hurricane in 2001 between September 11 and September 19. So there's a few things I found out just now about historical storms, Atlantic, well, I guess different incarnations of Gabriel in the past. 1989 was the strongest, and that storm claimed 9 lives, even though it never made landfall. I guess that was from rip currents. There has been a sign from Steenberg Geyser. It didn't erupt at 1:37. It erupted at 10:47. And that was on Tuesday the 27th. I said a red eruption. I didn't know what that means. Usually when I say something and I have no idea what it means, it's got a true psychic, I don't know, it's a true psychic message. When it's like totally unconnected to anything. It's just come to me out of the, like, I don't know how to explain that. It's like there's going to be a triplet sign on your birthday. That's how I found Steenberg Geyser. Well, there was a triplet sign on my birthday. I didn't know what it was. I thought it had something to do with volcanoes. It was the 3rd eruption in the current active phase of Steenberg Geyser. So, those sorts of things are the ones that seem to, I don't know, they are the ones that are weird, freaky. And the last one was red eruption of Steenberg Geyser. I didn't know what that meant, but the word red has a value of 27, and Steenberg Geyser erupted on the 27th of August, Tuesday, 27th of August. Starting my car.
accessing your ear holes on Friday for a very first Like a Virgin. We're super curious to see what she can do with all that electronic chill goodness.
Go have fun at the party. I'll be sitting here sipping on thoughts of your body. Let's
Catch Grace this Friday for Like a Virgin on Triple J Breakfast.
I'm coming dead, hot from your fears. This is the end, this is the end, this is the end. Short stint with you was all you took. I'll break the walls, come have a look at what you've done. I'm not the one, I'm not the one. Look what you've done. It's such a shame that it's all over. Couldn't make it if we tried. Don't tell me you were sober. You were drunk and I was high. Now I sit inside the Judy while I wait for something new. Some move inside would make me feel good. Through it all I still feel you. You're facing up, I'm underground. You're on your own, I'm upside down. Not to be found, I'm underground. You're checking in, I'm checking out. What's done is done, it's over now. All over now, I'm checking out. I fucking hate that it's all over, and I hate we never tried. Don't tell me you were sober. You were drunk and I was high. I still fit inside the shoe, dear. You wait for something new. The book inside would make me feel good. Through it all, I still feel you. Such a shame that it's all over. Couldn't make it if we tried. Don't tell me you were sober. You were drunk and I was high. Now I sit inside the Judy while I wait for something new. The move inside would make me feel good. Through it all, I still feel you.
Triple J, 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 J.
Yeah. Hold on vibes, put me drink on ice. Yeah, breathe more life. Cause we are breathe more life. Yeah, you know what it is, you know what I mean. You know what it is when you're with me.
Students and admissions experts on hand ready to help you. It's
I wake up every morning, feel this burning hunger. I ain't getting no younger.
Chat with Kristen and Nige tomorrow morning for your chance to be a part of Nige's Lunch of the Month.
Well, you don't want to leave your car with expensive tools at the pub.
There, this is High Life. Slide.
Cause I'm scared you don't want to, and I'm nervous I'll lose you. Pretend like it's so new, and then lie like it's so true. Now I know we can't see eye to eye. I'll come to grips on what it's like. We should let it slide. Maybe we should let this wait. I'm not fine holding up the walls, but you don't see it all. You just let this slide. Don't lie. You love to watch it fall, 'cause you don't hear it all. And let this pass us by. 'Cause I'm scared you don't want to, and I'm nervous I'll lose you. Pretend like it's so new, and then lie like it's so true. Now I know we can't see eye to eye. We'll come to grips on what it's like. I've tried, but you don't like telling me why. You lie, so your hands tied, but you don't try. So hard just to be here, to kill you, just to be clear. And I guess it's time tonight. We should let this slide. You're in and you're out. Get higher, let me down again. Where you been? Never mind, never win. Oh, I'm so sick of playing house, but I can't do without a friend. Where you been? I've tried, but you don't like telling me why.
Take a picnic, enjoy a sausage sizzle.
There's some weekly specials, all made fresh at amazing prices.
Kill you just to be clear. And I guess it's time tonight. Maybe we should let this slide.
Oh my goodness, that car's number plate was Erin. And that's the name of the tropical storm that's forming right now in the Atlantic, is Erin. Dorian is already formed and heading towards Puerto Rico. Erin is forming. Expected to form today, Wednesday. Expected to be named Erin. How weird. She was also a hurricane on September 11, 2001. But she did the wrong thing. She went away from New York. She could have actually stopped the terror attacks. Believe it or not.
House of Prayer. He allegedly said he planned to behead people on his front lawn with a sword bought from Pakistan. The attacks would be in reprisal for the Christchurch massacre. He has pleaded not guilty. He applied for bail today in the ACT Magistrates Court, and it was granted on conditions including not using social media and not approaching the House of Prayer. Prosecutors strongly opposed bail on the grounds he posed a risk to himself and the community.
The boss of Virgin Australia.
Totally. Why do they let these people out again? You've got a DJ in jail in Singapore because he was like enjoying himself, basically, having fun, and then you've got terrorists being released. I mean, governments just don't make sense. Judiciaries don't make sense. And we're meant to respect them. How can you respect them when they're torturing good people around the world? I'm talking globally. Good people are being tortured and evil criminals are being released all the time, every day. And it just gets to the point where people get sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm totally sick of it. Governments can be so moronic, and not just governments, anyone with power and authority my favourite YouTuber. His account was terminated the other day. And I'm like, really? I don't know what the world's coming to. But then again, it's never been a good place. There we go, it's 2:02. 2002, I can tell you a little bit about 2002 as well. There were two major hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico that year. One was named Isidore and the other was named Lily, and they both hit the same state, Louisiana. And that's why I was thinking a lot of different things. 16 degrees. A lot of different things about this Atlantic hurricane season. A stack of different things. Including Lorenzo, the L storm. My car reckons it's 19 degrees. But I wonder which one's true. I don't think it's 19. I think it's more like 16. It's probably about right. The sign outside the college is probably about right. 16 degrees, I reckon. Weird how I just mentioned September 11, and next thing they're talking about terrorism. And like I said, Erin, and I went past the car with Erin on its number plate. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but it was Erin, I swear. E-R-I-N. And then Gabriel, well, like I said, I just read that she was a hurricane in 2001. A pretty powerful one. Gabriel. No, 1989. She was a hurricane in 2001 too, as well, I mean. Formed on September 11, 2001. Dissipated on September 19. Hurricane Gabriel. But she was also a hurricane in 1989, the year that Jake was kidnapped and murdered in Minnesota, in the USA. And he's the boy who I call the Storm Boy. So it does make sense now. Gabriel is making sense on so many levels, in so many ways. A reflection of what they did to the DJ in Singapore. Like I said, a loving guy, a fun-loving guy who's a drug addict, drug user, and he was buying and selling drugs, buying off a local dealer and selling to his friends. That was his crime, for which he was sentenced to 20 years jail and 24 strokes of the cane. And in Singapore, when they cane you, the marks last forever. That's how hard they do it. It's category 5. So 24 is the maximum possible sentence. So you've got terrorists being released by some countries back into the public so they can, at some point, probably go on a killing spree. And then you've got DJs being caned, Cat 5 intensity, and that's what's going to be reflected. The caning of the DJ, his pain, his agony, excruciating agony, his horror, is going to be reflected in the hurricane. That's what I've known for a while. I'm trying to see what Steamboat Geyser... Well, there was an eruption on the 27th of August. Less than... How many hours ago would it be now? It's probably over 12 hours now. But... because it happened at 10:47. The time was 10:47 in Wyoming on the 27th. So you have to do the maths. Canberra is 16 hours ahead of Wyoming. And it's now what? 2:00 something? Maybe? 2:00... What would it be? 2:08, I'd guess? 2:06. 28th of August, 16 degrees. And 16 is the number of hours between Canberra and Wyoming. ACT in Australia and Wyoming in the USA. So do the maths. Steamboat Geyser erupted at 10:47 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Mountain Daylight Time, Wyoming time. So the time in Canberra would have been what? We have to say 10:47 p.m. plus 4 hours. 2:47 a.m. this morning is when it would have erupted, I guess. Is that right? I think so. Yeah, 2:47 a.m. this morning in Canberra. So that is a sign. What has a value of 247? I don't know. It's not the number I did, is it? Don't think so. I mean, I did a number in my thing. I don't think it's that one. I'll get back to you if it was.
Open fire on my burning heart. I've never been lucky in love. My defenses are down, a kiss or a frown. I can't survive on my own. Girl walks in, calls her name in my heart. I'll turn away. Every day we've all been led astray. It's hard to be lucky in love. It gets in your eyes, it's making you cry. Don't know what to do, don't know what to do. We're looking for love, calling heaven above. Send me an angel, send me an angel. Send me an angel, send me an angel. Empty dreams can only disappoint in a room behind your smile. But don't give up, don't give up. You can be lucky in love. It gets in your eyes, it's making you cry. Don't know what to do, don't know what to do. Looking for love, calling heaven above. Send me an angel, send me an angel. Send me an angel, send me an
It's 106.3.
Did you see the sky thinking instead of we've been lost? Maybe when it's time it's all we need. I can't really help it if my tongue's all tied in knots. Jumping off a bridge, it's just the farthest that I've ever been. 96.3.
I got these fresh eyes, and I've seen you before like this. Beautiful, it's like the first.
When you went away, what a life to take, what a bond to break. I'll be missing you. Somebody tell me why. One bad morning, when this life is over, I know I'll see your face.
Every night I pray, every step I take, every move I make, every sleep all day, every night I pray.
Every day that passes is a day that I get closer. Seeing you again, we miss you, baby. And we won't stop, because we can't stop.
Every step I take, every move I
Miss you, baby.
Every step I take, every move I make, every single day, every time I pray, I'll be missing you. Thinking of the day when you went away.
Ned and Josh's Alpha Bucks only on Hit 104.7. Come on, come on, come on, let me show you what it's all about.
fresh eyes. So suddenly I'm in love with a stranger.
So sorry I'm vacant. Been watching from the sidelines while all the noise it holds me still. We don't have to have everything at once. The life on the figure is pulling on the trigger. We don't have to have everything at once. The light on the figure has got me wrapped around your finger. Just pulling on the trigger. Just pulling on the trigger. I'm wrapped around your finger. Wrapped around your finger. Pulling on the trigger. Just pulling on the trigger. Just pulling on the trigger.
It's such a spacious, textural record. Mansionaire Shadowboxer. That was We Could Leave. Little Sim's in there too. Recently came through the studio for Like a Version. Took on Feel Good by the Gorillaz. But that was her own track, Offence, coming off her Grey Area release. The Wombats were in there too with Greek Tragedy, 0439 757 555. Stilly from the Central Coast, making a pretty big claim. Greek Tragedy by the Wombats is the best song ever made and ever will be. And we started with Polish Club with Break Apart. You're listening to Triple J. Very soon we're going to check in with the Triple J Unearthed feature artist. That's coming up in the next 15, I reckon. Before that, you're going to hear from Skepta, Wollongong Act Toddy, and right here, it's brand new, Milky Chance and Tash Sultana.
106.3.
Seems like just yesterday you were a part of me. I used to stand so tall, I used to be so strong. Your arms around me tight, everything felt so right. Unbreakable, like nothing could go wrong. Now I can't breathe, no I can't sleep. I'm barely hanging on. Here I am, once again. I'm torn into pieces. Can't deny it, can't pretend. Just thought you were the one. Broken up deep inside me, but you won't get to see the tears I cried. And hide these hands alive. I've told you everything. Open up and let you in. You made me feel alright for once in my life. Now all that's left of me is what I pretend to be. Strung together but broken up inside. 'Cause I can't breathe, no I can't sleep. I'm barely hanging on. Here I am, once again. I'm torn into pieces. Can't deny it, can't pretend. Just thought you were the one. Broken up deep inside. You won't get to see the tears I cried. Hide these hands alive. Swallow me then spit me out. For hating you I blame myself. Seeing you it kills me now. I'm done right on the outside. Here I am, once again. I'm torn into pieces. Can't deny it, can't pretend. Just thought you were the one. Broken up deep inside. You won't get to see the tears I cried. Once again, I'm torn into pieces. Can't deny it, can't pretend. Just thought you were the one. Broken up deep inside. You won't get to see the tears I cried. Behind these hands alive.
If you like it,
Dance, sing it.
turn it up.
Turn it up. Fantastic. Listening to
Mix 106.3. Music that feels good.
Real tough cooking with a long history. Breaking little hearts like you wanted me. That's okay, let's see how you do it. Pull up your dues, let's get down to it. Hit me with your best shot. Why don't you hit me with your best shot? Hit me with your
106.3.
Regency Nights Window Fashions, providing free installation for all new orders during August. regencynights.com.au.
Just one more thing before I go. Before I let you take the throne, you go right and I'll stay left. And if you ever get too close, you'll know my name before I go. They loved me then, they love you now. But don't forget there's one more round. All the pain, I know it will, but it hasn't kept me down. You think you got me figured out? You thought you had me. You thought that I was done, but I'm stronger up against the ropes. I'm a fighter. Before this fight is over, you'll know my name before I go. Just one more thing before I go. Before the final curtains close, there's no telling what comes next, but these tired hands will show. You'll know my name before I go. Just one more thing before the end. No time has never been a friend. To the dreamer, to the lover, to the one who needs to win. And watch how kiss you becomes. I say when I am done. You thought you had me. You thought that I was done, but I'm stronger up against the ropes. I'm a fighter. Before this fight is over, you'll know my name before I go. You'll know my name before I go. You'll know my name. Just one more thing before I go. Yes, you thought you had me. You thought that I was done, but I'm stronger up against the ropes. I'm a fighter. Before this fight is over, you know my name before I go. You'll know my name before I go.
If it's got the feel good factor, you know you're on Canberra's Mix 106.3.
And if it doesn't, you'll know I turned off the ignition. Just like they turned off the lights on the DJ. They unplugged the DJ. They tortured the DJ. And all I really know is that Hurricane Gabriel is going to reflect the torture of the DJ, the violence, the sadism. Do you think the judge, the sentencing judge, the magistrate, do you think they're not taking sadistic pleasure when they hand down these sentences? 20 years jail, 24 strokes of the cane, the Cat 5 cane. Do you think they're not taking pleasure when they do this? When they enforce this punishment, do you think they are not taking pleasure? People say, well, why don't you warn people? Why don't you warn people? I am warning people, but people don't listen. One reason people won't listen to me is because I'm gay. And so, oh, well, the gift of prophecy comes from the Holy Spirit. So a gay guy's not going to have that gift. Obviously not. And if he does, well, it's a gift from Satan. Well, I ran with that. I ran with that idea. A gift from Satan. I know when they torture people like this guy, they are demented, religious sadists, and they believe they are torturing Satan. So I ran with that idea. It's through most of what I wrote, actually. It's in there. Shouldn't have to look too hard to find the name. I wrote plenty about the DJ. I wrote plenty about lots of stuff. I don't really care if people take it seriously or not, to be honest. I've lived my life in the shadow of God and the judgment, the stigma of God. I've lived my life in that shadow, my whole life. I know all about it. So I don't really care anymore. They hit you from this side and then that side, and then they wedge you in the middle. You got the conservatives on one side of town, you got the politically correct, two-faced people on the other side of town. None of them care. None of them actually care about kids or the safety of kids. They never have done. If you cared about the safety of kids, you wouldn't close down the account of a teenager who's a trailblazer for young people. Someone who actually does something about the stigma. Someone who actually does something to destroy the stigma. And you close down his account and you say, oh, it's because he was doing things that are inappropriate to our community standards. And I'm like, no, it's not because of that. I see through all your lies. I see through all your lies. Because I've been around long enough. I don't believe anymore your lies. And when you condemn, when you judge, when you torture, as an authority, I know what that is. It is the shadow of God. That's how I know it's Gabriel. The messenger is Gabriel. Because Gabriel is Lucifer. Lucifer is Satan. So yes, the gift does come from Satan. The gift does come from Lucifer, because Lucifer is Gabriel. But your judgment blinded you, completely blinded you, and so you strapped one of Gabriel's boys to a wooden trestle and you tortured him brutally, sadistically. A guy who just liked to move people with music in a good way, which is love. It's motivation out of love. And so you take the DJ and you torture him because you are the shadow of God. Singapore, judiciary, judges, people running the jail. I know what you are. And I don't care if people take the warning from Gabriel seriously or not. It's not really a warning, unless I make it a warning. But how can I warn people when I'm gay? And they're going to